Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, the borders will reopen and a travel bubble is on the way. After months of Fortress Tasmania, the drawbridge will finally lower to a select few states. But the Premier is warning it will go straight back up at the first sign of danger.
North, South, West.
We intend to create safe travel bubbles with those 3 states, South Australia, the Northern Territory and Western Australia.
From August 7, Tasmania will finally open its borders to the select states, but those visitors will need to provide thorough information and undergo mandatory health checks. Anyone unwell will have to take a COVID test. As for reopening to Queensland, New South Wales and Canberra,
We'll provide an update on the 7th of August on the possible timeframes and dates to relax restrictions with those states and that territory.
Victoria is still off the cards, although travellers will be able to transit through Melbourne Airport.
We will certainly be encouraging people, if the travel enables them to do it, to take direct flights if possible.
Visiting Queenstown across the Tasman could become a reality.
I would still be confident that at some time in the future we would end up with a travel bubble with New Zealand.
But best to visit our own Queenstown first.
The challenge is for us on the West Coast, our major market is Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland. So obviously opening up to South Australia, Western Australia and Northern Territory, it's a different market.
Closed borders are still taking their toll. John Cito has seen his chocolate business dive by 60%. Luckily, Tasmanians are snapping up the sweets.
I think we've been fortunate because the model that we started many years ago was based on looking after our locals. And of course, what's happened now is that our locals have looked after us.
Among other changes announced today, all essential workers into the state will have to take the COVID test, and hotel quarantine now comes with a $2,800 bill. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has thrown out the AFL's plans to play a game in Hobart. The clash between North Melbourne and Melbourne, slated for August 9, is now off the cards. Let's go live now to Tom Johnson for more. Now, good evening, Tom. What does this say about the state's relationship with the AFL?
Good evening, Kim. Well, this clearly proves the state government won't be dictated to by the AFL. The league fixtured this clash knowing full well a decision wouldn't be made on our borders until today. This mess has now been thrown back on the AFL, the Premier sticking to his word that footballers won't receive special treatment. So the North Melbourne clash is off. That is a certainty. There is another game scheduled though for August 15, North Melbourne and Brisbane. That game hasn't been cancelled, but it is looking unlikely. The earliest the border could open to Queensland is the day before, August 14. Let's take a listen to the Premier.
In terms of the AFL, that is the least of my considerations. I would hope that AFL could be played here later in the year, but that will largely be dependent upon the circumstances of the states where the teams are based at the moment, whether or not we have travel arrangements available.
Now this puts Hawthorn in a very intriguing situation. They'll be in Western Australia until at least August 16, and they've made it very clear, very open, that they're willing to play the back end of the season here at UTAS Stadium in Launceston. So Kim, the door is open for potentially Hawthorn to come to Tasmania instead of returning to the other hub in Queensland.
Launceston Airport is hopeful the Premier's announcement of a travel bubble between Tasmania and certain mainland states will boost passenger numbers. But it doesn't come without challenges. Direct flights and a process to undertake health checks needs to be worked out.
These passengers bound for Sydney, a state locked out of Tasmania's new bubble.
We hoped that today was the day when the borders would be open, but obviously in the meantime, with what's happened up in Victoria and New South Wales, we were expecting to have to quarantine. Yeah.
Though the coronavirus situation on the mainland is making people nervous.
Of course, I am really worried, but what can I do? My visa will be end next month and I should go back to the Philippines.
I'm kind of a bit nervous about my traveling, actually go back around a lot of people, and we'll see what's going to happen.
This afternoon's announcement of a travel bubble between the island and South Australia, Western Australia and the Northern Territory is welcome news for Launceston Airport. The airport is hopeful it will attract airlines to fly direct to these destinations.
At this stage, we're unsure how the travel bubble will actually affect Launceston Airport. However, we will be working with the airlines to ensure that there are adequate flights to those destinations.
But all passengers entering the state will be subject to a mandatory health check. How this will be done, the airport is still working out.
We are going to go through a process of assessing how that's going to work at the airport, but we're certainly happy to assist where we can with the authorities.
With borders locked, passenger numbers at Launceston Airport have plummeted, with only 800 people travelling through here in a month. But it'll be a busy few days. 800 people are set to travel through the airport this weekend. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
An appeal date for convicted murderer Susan Neal-Fraser has again been adjourned because of coronavirus concerns. Melbourne-based lawyers for Neal-Fraser today told the Hobart Supreme Court they would be unable to reach Tasmania due to the worsening situation in Victoria. Neal-Fraser will face court again in September with the appeal hearing moved to November. And one of Tasmania's wealthiest people, Jan Cameron, has pleaded not guilty to 2 criminal charges laid against her in the Hobart Magistrates Court. The founder of Kathmandu is accused by ASIC of failing to disclose her true interests in infant formula business Bellamy's. Ms Cameron remains on bail to appear for a case management conference on August 26. There are fears the care of elderly residents at a prominent nursing home could be at risk due to cuts to staff hours. The Health and Community Services Union claims Southern Cross Care has also slashed vital services at its Glenara Lakes facility.
We're losing care hours here at the venue that we're at the front of today and at other sites across Southern Cross Care.
So residents are very happy. They're happy and comfortable in their accommodation, and staff are too, so I'm not quite sure where the concerns are coming from.
The chief of the aged care provider has denied the claims and says it has increased the number of cleaning staff in recent weeks. The state government has launched a new congestion busting plan to improve the reliability and safety of transport. The Greater Launceston Vision will also aim to increase the dwindling number of passengers using public transport.
A great number of mayors launching a greater vision for Greater Launceston.
This is a great way to collaborate amongst our councils.
This is a great vision for the Launceston and the municipalities that surround it.
From Georgetown to the Northern Midlands, at the forefront of the long-term transport plan, improving the accessibility and safety of our roads by reducing the number of people using it.
On average, people are within 9 kilometres of their destinations each day. We can do a better job of helping people to meet that challenge.
One way is to make public transport a realistic travel option in the city and out in the regions.
Because we're still seeing only 2% of trips on public transport. People have the choice of whether they want to use their car, whether they want to use public transport, whether they want to use active transport.
While also creating designated travel corridors for trucks. But the government wants more community feedback for the roadmap, which is now open for consultation.
It's got to be sustainable, and what we need to be doing is making sure it's smarter and working together.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Local footy now. The Meander Valley's fiercest rivalry is about to reignite for the first time in nearly 40 years. Deloraine will travel to Westbury to settle some old scores in a fixture only made possible due to COVID-19.
Westbury's Tigers of old remember the Deloraine days well. Players used to travel to the games by train, and that wasn't the only difference.
One year they brought a rooster with them, all painted up in the Deloraine colours, and never made it to the football ground.
Incredibly, the two towns haven't faced off since 1983, but now Westbury, now known as the Meander Valley Suns, is finally back in the same league as Deloraine, all because COVID-19 has forced the NTFA to combine its two divisions.
John Loon, MLC, he said, I came to Westbury this day and he said a fight started and I tried to break it up and a woman took to me with an umbrella and really laid into him. So You know, you can be an MLC, but you're still getting hit around the head at Westbury.
1980 Premiership hero Michael Kennedy wants another crack at them. Although he might be just as unlucky as that at selection. Still, there'll be nothing like seeing history unfold from the sidelines, especially from the brand new club rooms christened with cherished memories from the old club. Among the memorabilia is the signature of Westbury's most famous past player, Michael Disco Roach, who went from being a Westbury Tiger to a Richmond Tiger.
We're looking to display what the older guys displayed back 37 years ago, that sort of heart and that mentality of just that never die attitude.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Volunteers have been busy doing their bit to protect iconic endangered species. Green Thumbs from Landcare planting native vegetation to boost habitat for precious wildlife.
Digging deep to make a difference. A Landcare working bee at Acton Park with a clear mission.
To try and improve habitat for small native mammals.
We're trying to encourage the native prey species and then the raptors to survive here.
This is private property, home to many iconic and some endangered species such as the masked owl.
We're in a really important area where we've got, you know, the barred bandicoot, which is endangered, and we've got lots of, there's just the brown bandicoots, paddymellons and potoroos, and lots of animals that come here that we really enjoy.
Many severely under threat from a lack of prey, shortage of habitat and chemicals like rat bait eaten by smaller animals such as bandicoots.
That's part of a bigger program designed to improve the prospects for endangered animals like our owls, which the owls eat the bandicoots.
This new vegetation will serve as a home and help to rebalance those issues plaguing different species.
We're just value adding what's already here, so we're helping nature do its thing.
The group will also put in owl nest boxes and infrared cameras to monitor outcomes, made possible from a federal grant, the Community Environment Program.
This is a fantastic way of finding out what's actually happening out in our bush.
Louise Hubar, 7 Tasmania News.
Clarence TSLW players are preparing to run onto the park for their first match of this year's campaign. They face a tough assignment first up against Glenorchy at Richmond Oval. Midfielder Nicole Bresnahan is hoping their hard work in the extended break will pay off.
So I suppose the way we move the ball, we've been really working on that in pre-season, so I think that's going to be key for us, come Saturday.
Launceston will do battle with Kingborough in the weekend's other match. The Tasmania Netball League will resume tonight after spending 4 months on hold. One player who wasn't expecting to play at all this year is now taking to the court.
Netball was one of the few winter sports which managed to get a season underway before the sporting world collapsed. Now Kingston is benefiting, securing former Cavs player Izzy Maskell, a coronavirus refugee who had planned to spend the year in Denmark.
I wasn't supposed to be playing netball this year, so to come back and have the opportunity to play for me is really great, but I know for the rest of them it's been tough having that massive break.
While Cripps Waratah shooter Megan Harper said it's felt like a never-ending pre-season.
We're keen to just get back on the court and have a go at implementing what we've been training for.
Cripps plays Corana and Kingston faces Arrows in round 3 tonight. And there's still a glimmer of hope Super Netball will come down this year too.
We still hold hope that perhaps in the back end of the season we may be able to get a game down here.
In the NPL, Olympia had a shock loss under new coach Andrew Brown in round 1. He says it was a difficult week, but the answer for round 2 against Glenorchy is to attack.
Look at Liverpool and the way they celebrated winning the trophy against Chelsea, you know. What a way to do it. 8-goal thriller, everyone talks about it, everyone's happy. So let's hope we have an 8-goal thriller and we score 5.
I believe the squad's going to be the same with the inclusion of Joffrey.
It's on at KG5 tomorrow. And the virus has caused a bitter blow for Tasmanian sport. The BMX National Championship, slated to take place in Launceston, has been cancelled for good. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Temperatures range from -9 at Lyowini to our top today of 14 at St Helens. Hobart 13, Launceston and Devonport 10, Burnie 11 degrees. Many centres struggled into double figures. Friendly Beaches and Grove 13, Lowhead and Ooze 11. Most other centres on 12. And Lyowini put on an 18-degree turnaround to reach 9. A few light showers today over the west, low cloud over the northwest and far south of the state, a layer of thin cloud above. Cloud is also spiralling around a low south of the Bight, extending over South Australia Australia. Convective cloud covers much of Queensland and northern New South Wales. Tomorrow, a weakening trough passes to our south as a high forms over the state. Troughs persist over northeastern Australia. The winds only light, nor'westerlies, but up to 15 to 20 knots over the south, more variable over the north. And we can warn you about the roads in the morning. A road weather alert, warning of ice on roads first up. Hobart, 3 overnight, a top of 12 tomorrow and partly cloudy. 10 the high for Maydena, fog and frost. Same for Oatlands, a top of 10. Launceston looking for 14 degrees after morning fog and frost, partly cloudy for Devonport on 13. Liaweenie -5 to 5 tomorrow. Burnie expecting 12 degrees and partly cloudy, Strawn 13, Marrawar 13 as well. St Helens tomorrow a top of 14 degrees and mostly sunny, Swansea 14 as well, and Orford 13. To Sunday and a fine, cool, mostly sunny day ahead. A late shower later on though in the west and far south. Showers on Monday extending across the state for a period in the morning, and on Tuesday fine and partly cloudy apart from a possible shower over the east. Partly cloudy in Perth and Melbourne, sunny in Adelaide, showers for Canberra and Sydney, rain at times for Brisbane, 21 there tomorrow. 9 and cloudy in Hobart, 8 degrees in Launceston currently and also 8 in Devonport. Lots of Tasmanians travelling around the state at the moment, Kim. Let's be careful on the roads.
Very much so. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend, Murph. Well, that's your news for now. We're going to leave you, though, with a great video that's been created by the St Giles Arts Program Studio Space. The group has been working on the video since March. It's sure to put a smile on your face. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.
Woke up this morning, I suddenly realised we're all in this together. I started smiling, 'cause you were smiling, and we're all in this together. I'm made of atoms, you're made of atoms, and we're all in this together. And long division just doesn't matter, 'cause we're all